Hello dear Ronins, welcome to Ronin Hood. Today it will be an episode about razor sharp test. So what is razor sharp? This is the first question, and it's not so easy that it looks because I've been working on this episode more times than I was expected it, and I just start with a Saiza position for just pushing the paper, because the razor sharp test is about just pushing with a 90 degrees angle between the edge and the paper, and you just push the paper. So it's just perfectly working with this Araki from yarinohanzo if we think that I'm correct on my 90 degrees angle for just pushing and not slicing. This is really important. All this episode will be about to understand the difference between slicing and pushing. So we will just start with what is pushing. It looks like so easy, so obvious, and it is not so obvious that it looks. Because when we push, we always have with habits a little move of slice that can just use the slice effect of the edge. Exactly like right now, I'm just between pushing and slicing. So it's not so easy to just, in my experience, in my feedback, to just try this razor sharp test with a correct position and to just have a perfect 90 degrees angle and just pushing, because with all these practice years now, 2 years in Batodo, I just have the habit to cut paper or omote always in 30 degrees or in 45 degrees angle cut. And this is just the degrees of the slice. So the slice movement is in 3 times. It's come from the tip to the point of cut to the gourd, and this is the way you will cut, or the opposite, you start from the gourd to the point of cut with a third time movement, because you will do 1, 2, 3, because it will be from the gourd to the point of cut to the tip, and it will be concentrical movement, and it's not like a baseball bat movement from back to front. From back to front, it will be from the gourd to the point of cut to the tip. It's a 1, 2, 3. So this is a slice movement. The pushing movement is so easy that I think it is difficult, because like I was saying, I spent really more time on this episode than I was expecting it, and right now I'm just changing from a swords to another. So right now is the John Lee hannya from John Lee, and it should be not able to make the razor sharp test, because it is a very sharp edge from what I know on the seller website page. So it was weird because I couldn't have a really obvious results on this 4 swords difference about the razor sharp test. I have to be perfectly sincere. I was expecting something more clever and more visual on the difference between razor sharp and very sharp. So for the moment, what I can say is that I don't understand, but the hannya was able, just with pushing, to get through the paper. So that's why I think my posture was not perfect. It was not totally 90 degrees angle cut with just a pushing move. I think I was slicing a little bit, like right now, and that's why it was getting through. And this is not the topic of the razor sharp test. So it's not, that was slice movement, second one. It's not so easy to have this correct angle of 90 degrees and just pushing to find the way if the blade is razor sharp. So we will try with different ways. The second way will be not on Seiza but on KAMAE, and we will see that it can be better for improving the experience. Now I am with a 1060 carbon steel hanwei practical special, and it shouldn't get through because it's razor sharp. It's very sharp, sorry. So it wouldn't get through normally if the test is correct. So right now it was just between slicing and pushing. That's what I think. Getting on Seiza is not totally great for having this 90-degree angle cut. So for my first experience in Seiza, there is a difference between the four blade. You have the silver right now that it should be razor sharp. I felt differences when I was making cutting tests for the review of the shinken in the forest. Significant difference. So I think from my first test that I had with on paper, like I showed you on the review, that is a razor sharp edge. The same for the Araki, that is a little bit better sharp edge, razor sharp edge. Right now I have the Araki. And on Seiza, it's difficult to have the good posture because right now the edge doesn't meet perfectly at 90 degrees the paper, so there is kind of between 90 and 45, and that's create naturally a slice movement. So that's why I think the tests on the floor were not so great and objective for what I'm trying to find for this razor sharp paper test. Again, trying with the hannya from John Lee, and trying, yes, that was more close from 90 degrees, and that's why it was getting, it's resisting, and it should be, because it's very sharp. It shouldn't get through the paper on 90 degrees. So right now I think we are more correct about the test, because there is no slice. If I'm not slicing, it shouldn't get through. That was I was expecting, and we will see how it's a little bit more complicated on the result that I had. So the results are more objective than what I think. Right now I think it was a slicing movement because of 45 degrees and not 90. Of course, if you get other knowledge that are more serious and more advanced about how to test razor sharp edge and to have a proof of how to find a way to see if the blade is razor sharp with something that is simple and really obvious, you can let me a comment, of course, on the review. So right now I'm getting more precise to find the way. That was slicing. That is slicing too. We can see kind of 45, and it's scratching when I'm pushing on 90 degrees. And that's what I mean. It should scratch and not get through the paper if the edge is not razor. And that's make a significant difference, because it's supposition if there is a really big difference between very sharp and razor sharp. This is what I think, because I feel it when I cut omote, and I'm trying a way to find if this test is working, the test about the razor sharp edge on paper. We can see that it's close from 90 degrees angle, and I see and I know that Araki for me, and of course it's written for silver, that is razor sharp, and it's pushing all the time on 90 degrees like right now, and it's getting through. So for the moment, what I'm feeling between the omote cuts and the razor sharp test on paper when I'm almost correct on 90 degrees is that Silver and Araki are razor sharp, so they get through the paper, and the two others, the special from hanwei and the hannya from Johnny, shouldn't get through. I think this is where I am on my journey, that sharp is 30% of the maximum what you can get. Very sharp is 60% of the maximum you can get, and razor sharp is 90 to 100% that you can get. And it's really important because it's reduced theoretically, and I observed in my practice that it reduced the quantity of energy, physical energy that you have to spend for making a cut. So having a razor sharp edge makes sense if you don't destroy it for practicing Batodo or Tadameshigiri. So that's enough for testing on Seiza, on the floor. I think it was not enough precise for having the 90-degree angle cut because of the position of my body, and to just balance the swords in front of me, I have to keep the swords at 45 degrees from my body, and it's difficult to keep the paper at 90 degrees with the edge. So that's what I think. This is not a test to do on Seiza because it's too difficult to have with your body the 90 degrees. You can see here we're close, and it's really easy, it's really smooth, even on little section of paper, because little section of paper get less inertia, exactly like omote, and it's giving indication on the level of sharpness of an edge. When it's scratching, there is two possibilities: or I am incorrect in my edge alignment, or the edge is not enough sharp. So this is the Araki from yarinohanzo. You can watch the review if you want, and you can watch the versus between Araki from yarinohanzo and Silver Dragonfly from Murasame. Now the razor sharp test on KAMAE, like I was saying, I think will be closer, and you can see it from 90 degrees. It's getting through without scratching. I'm trying my best to just pushing the edge and just to keep it at 90 degrees. I really thought it would be easy, and it was not. The shooting took more time than I was expecting it, and I was really having a good time on this test with Araki and Silver. Obviously, the cost, one is 680, and the other is 880, and just for that, this is a part of the price of the product that you have to think about if you will choose your first shinken, because razor sharp make a difference if you don't destroy the edge, and it's just has a better smooth slice movement if you slice for omote, or if you just try this test. The same for silver. The thing is, I feel like 10-15% better razor sharp edge on Araki, to be objective, and I had many shoots to try to find a way to make this test the more precise and more significant as possible, more than I was expecting it, and it was really interesting, even for practice, more than I thought. I thought it was a little subject, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. Like everything, when you dig a little bit, you can find contradiction. Like this is my first contradiction, because the hannya from Johnny was 3-4 times less easy to push on 90 degrees angle cut the paper, but sometimes was doing it. So I was like, I don't understand. this blade should be just very sharp and should scratch the paper, and not so much. So it was like, okay, 50-60% less well sharp than the two other one, but it was a bit getting through. It was more significant with the special from hanwei, but it is a 1060 carbon steel, and the three other one on the stands right now are all 1095 carbon steel. And I observe, and this is my opinion, that 95 carbon steel gets more density. It's just normal because it's a more hard steel. It can break easily. It can be easier to break it if you have a metal against metal, but for cutting omote and cutting paper, it's just getting through paper really better, and it's cut with a different sound than when you do it with 1060 carbon steel. And the other thing is it keeps longer the edge sharp if you don't destroy, of course, your edge with bad cuts, with not well edge aligned. So for the moment, we are getting closer to a really beautiful pushing on 90 degrees angle cut. It is working. We can hear the sound. I let you the sound. I don't put some music because it's really important. You will make your own opinion about this razor sharp test. So I think it's 30-40% better with the two medium class swords, Silver and Araki, than the two other one. But the hannya from Johnny is still really good on the edge. I have to say that I have been surprised, and it was not so significant, the difference, less than I was expecting it, with between the two middle class and the hannya. I'm just pushing on the middle of the blade, trying to not slice at all, just pushing. And I observed that it was getting through, but just on 10 centimeters most of the time. If I want to add a cut of paper by pushing, it has to go straight, because if it's going 45 on the sides, that means it's slicing the paper. So if it has to be really clean, it has to be like pushing 90 degrees and cutting straight. It was really more difficult, like I was counting the number of time that I need. It was necessary for hannya, and it was like 12, 15, and for having less good results of cuts than the two medium class ones. So for that, it was really significant objective results. But I was really surprised that hannya was getting through even 1 on 4 time or 1 on 5 time, and sometimes a bit more than 10 centimeters. It was a little contradiction. So I like when it's like really clean, really simple, and you just have to apply and practice with a quiet mind. So with the special from hanwei, I think we are good on this 90 degree angle cut. I'm trying to just push, and it's getting a little bit inside, slicing a little bit on 45 degrees, and sometimes scratching paper. So now you can see what is the slice movement is really different. The nature of the movement is very different from the gourd to the point of cut to the tip on 1, 2, 3, or to the tip to the point of cut to the gourd. But this movement is more used for kitchen and not for cutting omote. From the to the tip to the gourd is on kitchen, and to the gourd for the tip is for cutting with a Japanese sword, for the nature of a slice movement. So, because I don't like to consume paper for nothing, and just to see on fast video the difference between pushing and a slicing movement. I know it looks really simple, but sometimes really simple things can hide a big subject, and it's really important to be conscious in our practice, I think, of the more basic thing and the more basic topics to really understand how work the Japanese swords or the swords that we can have on the market for practicing Batodo. Another thing that was interesting, on slicing, a paper can be difficult to cut if you want to go like not fast, but you just will have more difficulties with a paper that has been already cut because you will have less inertia. And I observed that in plus of a really easy razor sharp test on paper pushing movement, you have really more easy cuts with slicing movement too with a paper that is already cut. It's really obvious for Araki and silver. So for that, I can say like really easily that there is a significant difference of sharpness between the blades on the right and on the left, because you have a black stand on the right and a wood stand on the left. So this is almost the end of this episode. And now we will just see something that is really simple too, where is pushing and slicing. So we are in kitchen with these two vegetables, a cucumber and a tomato. I was just pushing for the cucumber and now I'm trying to push with the tomato. And you can see that this Japanese kitchen knife is not razor sharp because I'm trying to push the tomato and it doesn't work, but when I'm slicing, it's working. So we can see that one from the tip to the point of cut to the gourd, it's a 1, 2, 3 movement for slicing with a kitchen knife, Japanese kitchen knife. This one is really nice. This is the Lady Shinobi kitchen knife, so I don't want to damage it because it's not my kitchen knife, and it's Japanese and it's really beautiful. But she let me use it just for this review. And you can see that when I'm pushing with tomato that have less, it's a material that is more complicated to cut because it's more soft. I'm just pushing right now and it's not cutting. So it's a really simple way, I think, with fruit to see if it's razor sharp. Because if the tomato was cut by a razor sharp edge, I wouldn't need to apply a slice cutting. Well, this is slice cutting from the gut to the tip or to the tip to the gourd. This is just pushing with the cucumber and now it's slicing. It was delicate because it was little movement, but it's important to see it. Yeah, this is slicing. It looks between both of them, but it's slicing. This is pushing. So we see that the difference of the material that you will cut will be really important for the results you will have, depending on which type of blade, razor sharp or very sharp you want. Thank you for having watched this episode. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you soon for the next episode in Ronin Hood.